Hi, everyone. We're on day 26 of this gratitude practice. We've come a long way. It's been a long time since we were starting this practice, and I hope that you've been able to find that time to embody gratitude within yourself. I know that sometimes these practices can seem difficult because they aren't our daily habits. But, the more that we start with the simple little things, writing 10 things that we're grateful for every morning, and saying one thing that we're grateful for at the end of the day, or just finding a moment in your day to really be truly grateful for something. It can be as small as that cup of coffee in the morning. It can be, a compliment that you receive from somebody. It can be that moment that you just felt good for whatever it is. Take that moment to really hone in that gratitude within your body so that you know what that vibration feels like. And the more you feel into that vibration, the more goodness you'll attract to your life, and the more you'll find yourself being grateful for so much more, because you will be attracting so much more goodness into your life. This has been a trying time for some people. There's a lot of fear and anxiety, a lot of uncertainty and unknown. For others, it's been okay. For me, it's been okay in the sense that I am dealing with the range of human emotions. Things haven't been necessarily easy. I have a lot of things surfacing for me. I've been able to take the time to do the work that I need on myself. And as a result, there's a lot that has been stored in my body. There's been decades of stuff stored in me that's finally coming to the surface that I'm being forced to confront and reckon with. And that's human experience. That's life, experiencing this range of emotion, learning how to flow through it, transform it, alchemize it, and release it, allowing it to be what it is and not judging it, but accepting it and releasing that negativity that you hold on to it. It's a tough process, but I encourage you to do it more and more, because when you do release it, you do feel that lightness of body. You are actually releasing and rewiring your nervous system, your cells. Every cell of your body contains all these receptors that are responding to the environment that is being cultivated inside of you. You are responding to certain stimuli, whether they be internal stimuli, the thoughts of the past, something that you've eaten, whatever it is, or external stimuli, a noise, a smell, whatever it is. But we respond to them, and we can choose how we are responding. And it's not an easy thing to learn. And it's easier sometimes to start with the external, choose how we respond to the external world. And then we can learn how we can choose to respond internally to all of that. When we are choosing to respond in a certain way, we no longer are creating the hormones of stress, the triggers that are activating our cells to go into a fight or flight response, to go into the survival mode that causes our nervous system to shake and be on edge. When we can change those responses in ourselves, we can really stay in a higher vibration. We can create a lightness of being. And it does take doing that inner work. So I encourage you to allow emotions to come through you. They may not always be positive, but we've been taught to suppress the negative emotions, and that can sometimes be to our detriment, because it doesn't mean that they go away. We just store them inside. So if you can release them, if you can observe them, understand them, transform them into gratitude, and then release them, you will change the way you react, and you will be healthier inside and mentally and spiritually and emotionally. So I encourage you to do that. And gratitude is the best way to do this, because when you can notice that there are aspects of a situation that can be positive, then you can transform that energy away from what is wrong to what is right and what is working in your favor. And when you see what is working in your favor, you begin to build this in all areas of your life. And then it can culminate into something like what's happening right now, this global awakening that's happening, this global rest period, this global pattern interrupt. And you can start to see how it can be to your benefit, to the benefit of the earth, to the benefit of people, benefit of humanity, benefit of all of Earth's creatures. There can be aspects that you can start to understand because you're being drawn out of yourself and you start to interrelate and interconnect with all of life. Now, this is not easy. I'm not suggesting that it's easy. I'm just suggesting that when you start to build these practices in small little ways, really truly embodying gratitude in the smallest of ways by just being grateful about that one thing and feeling that gratitude in your heart, you will begin to expand it into other areas of your life. And it eventually will be one of the greatest tools and one of the greatest assets that you have. So today we're going to be talking about mistakes and being grateful for mistakes, because as I mentioned, there is always a positive side of things. It's not just the mistakes we make, but it is what we learn from our mistakes. You think about a child who's just learning how to read or write, or you think about them learning how to ride a bike. How many mistakes do they make before they actually get it? Do you chastise them for that process? Or is it considered part of the learning process? We are continually evolving and we are continually learning in life. So we make mistakes. We make mistakes all the time. And the mistakes are not the problem. The problem is not learning from the mistakes. It's just continually making that same mistake until it blows up in our face. So what we want to do is prevent that from happening. And we can do that by recognizing and owning up to the mistake that we're making, and then being grateful for what we are learning from it. You know, you can take something as simple as, getting a speeding ticket. Often what we in our programming can do is blame somebody else for the mistake that we made. If we're going over a speed limit and that speed limit is assigned and clearly visible on the road, then the mistake is ours. And even if you're going with the flow of the traffic, even if something else happened, whatever happened, we sometimes can blame other people for that. Like, oh, so-and-so cut me off, or I don't know, whatever excuse that we make, rather than owning up to the fact of, I was going over the assigned speed limit. And so, owning up to the mistake is important. And then looking at the ways we can be grateful for it. I'm grateful that I was stopped because I am respecting the rules of the road. I'm grateful that this police officer is maintaining some sort of sense of operations in the way that we work as a humanity on the road. I'm grateful that this officer is keeping people safe. I'm grateful that rules of the road exist so that we can keep everybody safe. So there's numerous things that you can be grateful for. And when you start to do this, then you start to work in concert with other people, where we all are working together in harmony and nobody's going off and acting rogue in this way. And people do that all the time. But then you can be grateful for them being that example to you of what it does, how it affects other people, what it does to you and how it affects you. So again, look at situations as opportunities to learn more about yourself, to learn more about the world. Now, we can make mistakes in, a bad conversation with somebody, maybe having an argument with somebody where that you're at fault, or maybe you told a white lie in order to protect something from somebody and it didn't feel good. Where that you should be speaking the truth. Maybe you trusted somebody and it didn't work out. So these are ways that we can learn about ourselves own up to what we've done, and then be grateful for what we've learned. I do this all the time with my daughter. Sometimes, she pushes my buttons, and when we're at home all the time, it can be a lot. It can be a lot of stressors on all of us. And she's very sensitive and she's highly reactive. And sometimes I will say something in a way that she just does not appreciate. And it will send her into a very a very animated, I should say, response. And there are days that sometimes we wake up on the wrong side of the bed and we have a lot of emotions, and there's days where that can pile up, and there's a lot of these kind of highly reactive moments, and it wears on me. And then I say something, that I actually regret saying, and then that really hurts her. And I realized in that moment that, part of me has not been listening to her and listening to her emotions. There's also that interplay of her having to learn how to listen and respond to the world. But in that moment that I really do hurt her, in that moment that I say something that I should not have said, I own up to it right away as soon as I notice it. And maybe I need to take some time to go calm down. I do what I need for myself, but then I am straightforward with her, and I am honest with her, and I am very clear that I made a mistake saying that. That is something that I should not have said. That is something that is not appropriate to say, and that is something that I would never want to be an example of something that should be said. And then I tell her that I am grateful. I'm grateful that she's teaching me these things. I am grateful that I am learning these things by observing these mistakes, that I am grateful that I am human and I am able to recognize that, and we can all change and learn from our mistakes. I'm grateful that she is showing me ways that I need to grow. I'm grateful that she is an example of why I need to be very specific and very thoughtful about my words, and that I should not be reacting but acting. And so we can go through this exercise with anything that we find ourselves judging ourselves for. And by transforming that judgment into this idea of gratitude and what we can be grateful for from learning from that situation, you'll remove this negativity from your body. And as I mentioned, the more gratitude you have, the higher vibration that you're in, you can then learn and attract more goodness into your life, so that there is not so much of the mistakes and the negativity, but more of what it is that you are trying to manifest for yourself. Now, remember, mistakes are part of life. Don't judge yourself for them. Use them as learning experiences, and from there we will grow together. All right, I wish you a wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.